Hi there, this is Catherine Mahler, and we're here for another installment of Tips and Tricks. Today I want to talk to you about scales. Very few people enjoy practicing scales. I know that most of my students don't like doing it. It's not super exciting, but it is very good for your playing. The big reason that I like practicing scales is that it lets you isolate whatever it is that you're having trouble with. So you can think about your tuning, you can think about your bow, you can work on a certain bow stroke, you can play in a certain part of the bow, you can do different slurs. There are all sorts of ways that you can change your scales so that you are working on a specific skill. And it lets you do that without the complication of having to worry about a piece and having to worry about having the notes change and keeping all of that in mind. So, what exactly is a scale? A scale is what happens when you start playing on a given note and you play every single note up to that next same note. So, let's say that we were playing a G scale. So, we'd start on G and then play A, which is your first finger on the G string, and then we play B, or your second finger, and then we play C, your third finger, and then we play D, and then E, and then F, and then G. So that is a scale because we've gone from G to G. We could do the same thing starting on D. So D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Now, there is some complication as far as the key signature and whether the notes are sharp or natural or flat. And for today, we won't go into that because that's a fairly big conversation to have. So with your scale, for example, one of the ways that I like to practice my scales is that I start with really slow bows. So I will play 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll play each note counting to 4 so that I'm really working on my bow control because it's hard to play long bows and keep control of them. And then I'll get faster. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I'll do 2 beats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then just 1 beat. I start doing slurs. So a slur is where you're playing 2 notes in one bow. So I will play D and then E in one bow. Sorry, that's actually G and A. And then I'll do 3. And then I'll do 4. And then you can get all the way up to 8. So in that way, I'm practicing my bow control, but I'm also practicing my fingering and I'm practicing getting my fingers moving faster. So that's just kind of a basic way that I like to practice my scales if I don't have anything else that I want to focus on. You could also, if you're having trouble playing in one part of the bow, you could play your scale. Like let's say that you don't like using this bottom part of your bow, you could work on playing your scales just in this part. So you could just use a part of your bow and focus on that. So there are all sorts of things that you can work on with your scales. I actually personally find it a little bit soothing to practice my scales because the left hand, I know what needs to happen. And it gives me a chance to think more about my bow, which is really useful. Most of us don't think about our bows enough. We mostly think about our left hands. So I hope that you have fun practicing your scales. I know that that sounds a little crazy, but just mix it up. Notice what you're having trouble with in your pieces and then try to figure out if you can use your scales in a way that will help you to improve that skill. Happy fiddling!